This is showing the 3mm GoDirect and mini GoDirect implants. They do come in different collar lengths. So one has a pointed end, the other has a rounded end. They both have double lead threads for faster insertion. They both have micro threads for reduced crestal bone stress. They have either a 1.5 or 3mm neck on them. The one with the rounded end is straight and then tapered, whereas the one with the pointed end is evenly tapered. The one with the rounded end just comes in 3 lengths and 3 diameters. They both come with an internal set screw that can be removed so that you can add a multi-unit or a ball abutment to it. You could add another GPS extender or a custom cast abutment to it. So it's a one-piece implant that can be converted into a 2-piece. Now Zest came out with an implant that tries to copy this. It doesn't have the micro threads. It sticks up 1 millimeter higher than ours. So it doesn't have an internal thread to give the option of adding other abutments. There are 2 options for placing implants in narrow ridge. Either lay the flap or to do the procedure flapless. So let's look at the standard flap surgery, which is what I recommend for most situations. It gives you the opportunity to flatten the ridge as necessary. This is for the 3mm GoDirect implant, 13 millimeters in length. There's the 13mm line on these drills, and this is a crestal bone drill for very dense bone, and when you turn it in reverse, it'll flatten the top of the ridge as well. So select the 2.3 step drill. Make your initial pilot hole. This is for placing 2 implants. Penetrate to the full depth of the drill with the rounded GoDirect implant. If the bone is soft, you could stop at that point with the 3mm. Insert the paralleling pins. Use them to align the other implants, just as you're paralleling preparations in the mouth. They need to be within 10 degrees of parallelism. If they're canted out, straighten them up with your next drilling procedure. You're going back with a 2.8 drill in dense bone, you could use that to straighten up those sockets. The attachments will work with 10 and 10, which is 20 degrees divergence, but there may be more wear on them, so it's easier to just get them parallel. So here is the GoDirect. Comes on a carrier that is a snap transfer. Just start its insertion, put the tool in and ratchet it to its appropriate depth. You have a 1.5mm collar, which is usually the thickness of the soft tissue. If you need to leave it sticking up a little bit more, you could. Now, flapless surgery, you need to establish whether you have available bone. So you can measure the thickness of the tissue, and then you can map the bone with probes, or better yet, do a CT scan and determine whether you have available bone or not. Much more difficult procedure to do this than laying a flap. Do your tissue punches. Start with a locator pointed drill. So there's your locator pointed drill. For expediency, cut all three initial pilot holes. Select the 2.3 drill. It steps down to 2. In relatively soft bone with the pointed implant, you can stop and the implant point will work its way through the bone because of the sharp end. If the bone is dense, then go ahead and finish the site to the full depth. If you attempt to place a pointed implant in dense bone that's only been prepared half the depth, there's a chance of fracture. Put the paralleling pin in and then repeat the procedure to help you line it up. That's how you work your way around the arch. I recommend using 3 of these implants in the edentulous jaw. The middle one will give you what is called indirect retention. And again, try and get them within 10 degrees of alignment. If they're off, then it'd be a good idea to straighten them out with your next drill. In the case of the pointed ones, if you've only penetrated halfway, you could use the same 2.3 drill and just finish the depth of the preparation as you realign the implant. Take the tag off of the implant, put it onto your patient record. This is a 3.0 millimeter mini implant, mini GoDirect implant. There's a snap comfort cap also packaged with that. Just turn it with finger pressure and then ratchet it to place. Now, if the torque seems to be getting too high, and I recommend using torque ratchets above 70 to 80 Newton centimeters, stop and back the implant out and then penetrate to the full depth with the drill. If you determined the density of the bone properly to begin with, you wouldn't need to do this. You would know whether it's dense, and you would have taken care of that at the beginning. If you now find out, though, that it is too dense to get it fully seated, then come back with the 2.8 drill and might as well penetrate to the full depth of the drill, to the 13 millimeter line. There's the 3 of them. The anterior one will provide indirect retention when the denture tries to pick up in the back as the patient's chewing. Snap on the comfort caps. Deliver the patient's existing denture with a soft liner. You see there are 2 neck lengths, 1.5 and 3 millimeters. That's 13. This would be to the 14.5, which is halfway between 13 and 16. And this 1.5 millimeters must stick above the soft tissue for the attachment to snap on. Now you're ready to take your impression. Snap on the transfer that comes with the implant. If you want to cut it off to make it shorter, you can. Snap on your comfort caps. Now you put the abutment analog in the transfers. Pour the working cast. Here's the attachment.